Hello to all, good to be with you. This is Reverend Stefan speaking. Um, this week I'm going to talk about Jesus in the wilderness. This is one of the major topic during Lent. It's the time that Jesus spent actually in the wilderness that you can see the desert as well. So let's have a look at one of the gospel, what is said. Here, this is the Gospel of Mark, chapter 1. It talks about the temptation of Jesus. And it says, "And the Spirit immediately drove him out into the wilderness. He was in the wilderness for 40 days, tempted by Satan. And he was with the wild beasts, and the angels waiting on him." So this is something that is happening right after the baptism of Jesus. And he needs some time to step back, to be away and cast from the world and have some time of reflection. Um, we are going to focus more about this time in the wilderness rather than the temptation, and you're going to understand why. So, if you talk about wilderness, you can think about the desert. Here are an example of pictures that I've taken when I was in the Holy Land. I can't remember if it was in Israel or Palestine, but anyway, it was the kind of place where Jesus could have been to spend his 40 days to do his retreat and his reflection. Um, this kind of spiritual exercise that Jesus did during this time is something that the Christian wanted to replicate, because they understood how important it was to step back from the world from time to time. So some people were doing it occasionally, others wanted to do it as a rule of life. And this is why we have monasteries where monks or nuns can live. And they have created their own wilderness. Um, this is the meaning of a cloister. A cloister is the one of the space that the monks have, where they are all together and secluded from the outside world. It's an enclosure, and they stay there. Um, by the way, do you recognize this place? This is a cloister that you should know. Any idea? Well, the church, you can see it on the picture on the left. It's the church of the Cathedral of Salisbury. So these monks or nuns were living in that place, and they were living with only with things that were essentials, the strict necessities for their lives. And for instance, where their own space, their bedrooms, were very minimalist. I can show you some examples here. You've got on the right an example of the cell, the bedroom, where there's just a bed and a desk to work. And on the other one, you can see the place where the monk would eat, for instance, if he was on his own, and where he could work. You can see on the left places where he could write and copy, for instance, some writings. So I'm going to talk about a place because um, I said to you that the monks and nuns are the people who have this as a rule of life, but sometimes people want to spend some time withdrawing from the outside world and to have what we call a retreat. So I'm going to tell you about my favorite place for a retreat, but we need for that to travel. So if you see on the north of the map, there's a blue dot, and this is where we are. It's in Wiltshire. in on the Salisbury Plain in Shrewton. And if you see, then there's the country of France, and at the south of France, you see around Nice, there's an arrow, and this is to point to the place where I like to go for a retreat. And this place is the southeast of France. It is called the French Riviera. And it's a place that is important for me because I lived there when I was your age. And I was born actually there. So if I magnify the map, this is the place where I go. So on the left, so that you can recognize, there's Cannes. In Cannes, you might have heard about it because of the film festival. Each year there's a very famous film festival in Cannes. Top right, you've got Antibes, which is actually the city where I was born. This is my birthplace, and it is known on the French Riviera as being the biggest yacht harbor in the Mediterranean Sea. And on the south of the map, you see there are the Isles of Lérins. I put it in French, Île de Lérins. The northern one, the biggest one, is Sainte Marguerite, and the southern one, the small one, is Saint Honorat. And Saint Honorat is actually the one where the monastery of monks, Cistercian monks, live. And this is the place where I like to make a retreat. So let's go closer to it. This is a view from the satellite. This is the eye, how it looks. And you can see how the waters are very clear because look at the south part of the map. There's you can see the rocks just beneath the surface of the water. This is a marvelous place. And now a bit closer to the monastery in itself, which is in the south of this isle. So I put on the right vineyards. Can you see it? There are vineyards. These the monks there cultivate grapes because they want to make wine. So they work all days there to have their wines, and they do a marvelous white wine. At the top, I put hospitality. Hospitality is the place where you welcome people, you host people who want to come for a short time. And this is where I go when I go on the retreat. So it's in the buildings that are right in the middle of this picture. On the left, the building that is going straight to the left of the picture is the church. And you can see, if you pay attention, at the center of this place, there's the cloister, the square one. This is the place, like the place that we have in the Cathedral of Salisbury. And the buildings around the cloister are the cells of the monks. Now, right at the south of this picture, there's the watchtower. The watchtower is like a castle, if you want, because the monks are there since the beginning of the Middle Age, and these times weren't very secured. They're sure there could be some invasions of who knows who. So they needed to have the castle to protect themselves. Here on the top, you've got another view of the monastery, and then you can see properly the church. You can see also at the bottom the monks in their habits, and they are working on the vineyard. You can see that the grapes are not here, but they are cutting the branches that need to be cut during the winter time. But you see the weather looks marvelous. And there's another space that you see is where it's their library where they study. So which show you what they are doing most of the time. They pray, they work, and they study. And if you go on a retreat, you can spend the time with them, praying, working, and studying. And all this, because it's a wilderness, a permanent wilderness, is made in silence. The monks have a break from their silence once a week, but the whole week they are in silence. So this is the place where I like to go to spend, for instance, a week or just a few days, and being away from the world of every day to experience my own wilderness, like Jesus did during 40 days. So I don't stay 40 days, but still, I want to have the experience of being in silence and working, studying, and praying. So I'll show you all that because I wanted you to have some reflection. First one is, what can silence bring you? Have you experienced the silence? Is it just something that is boring for you? Or is it a time you can think about things or being reflective about what you experience in your life? What does it mean for you to step back, to be away from the everyday world? What does it mean for you? What is minimalism? You saw the cell of the monks or the nuns where there is almost nothing. What is it? Why should we live with just the strict minimum? What can it bring to you? Would you be able to spend time in silence with nothing to distract you? And how long would you try? This one is challenging. Would you try that? What do you think it will bring to you? Okay, I leave you with these reflections. I hope it will be fruitful for you. And who knows, maybe when we'll be able to be together, we can discuss about it. Waiting for that. Enjoy your week, and I hope to see you very soon.